Good morning, everybody. I just want to say thank you very much for clicking on this video. I know there's millions of videos out there, and every time somebody clicks on mine and watches mine, I'm very grateful. So just to get right into it, today I want to talk about how simple the law of attraction really is and how complicated it gets because we misdirect our energy and our work and stuff like that. So the simple fact with law of attraction is whatever it is that you want to be, do, or have, you have to feel like you have it now, or are it now, or are doing it now. Simple. So if you want to be fit, you have to feel fit now. If you want to be rich, you have to feel rich now. If you want to be in a relationship, in love, you have to feel love now. It's really, really simple, and you have to be that more than you are the opposite. So let's say you feel poor, you feel broke, so if you want to have wealth according to the law of attraction, you have to feel wealthy now, and you have to feel it more than you feel broke. So if you go ahead and you do an affirmation or visualization and you feel wealthy now, and then for like 10 minutes you feel wealthy, and then for the rest of the day, for hours on end, you feel broke. Well, that's not tipping the scales. You have to feel more wealthy than you feel broke. So you have to be able to do this consistently throughout the day. And that's the real key. That's all it is. It's very simple. The problem is that we spend a lot of, and I'm not talking about just everybody else, because I used to be like that too. You spend a lot of time researching the law of attraction, asking more questions about the law of attraction, reading a million books in the law of attraction, when where we should really be directing our energy is to us. Okay, I know like attracts like. I know whatever I focus on, I create. I know whatever I feel, I create more of. Now, the real question is, how does that work with me, right? How do I get myself to feel wealthy when I'm broke? What works for me? There's all kinds of strategies, right? There's affirmations, there's visualizations, there's mind movies, which is basically like a video board, a vision board on video. There's vision boards, there's reality tales, which is basically just writing out your story, like, oh, today I won the lottery and it felt amazing, and I did this and that and that, and basically writing out a story of whatever you desire as if it's going on right now. You could listen to music to change your mood. You can do yoga, tai chi, you could do movements to help you to create whatever feelings you want to create. So there's endless ways to help you to manipulate how you feel, and bring yourself in a state that's going to be that's going to help you create what you want to create. But we spend so much time reading books about law of attraction and all these techniques and stuff like that, and understand law of attraction, and we spend very little time understanding ourselves. And this is where meditation helps a lot, because when you start meditating, you start being more conscious and aware of what's going on inside of you. And if you want to become a conscious manifestation master, you're going to have to learn how to you're going to have to learn what's going on inside of you. You're going to be conscious of what's going on inside you for the most part, and you're going to have to learn how to change it at will. So a good example of that is like a baby. We when people have kids, at first it's very challenging to figure out what the baby wants. The baby's crying, and you don't know what the baby wants. But in a short period of time, because you put so much energy and thought and focus into that baby, and to figuring out how that baby works and what works for that baby, that immediately you start to have not only understanding, but you start getting intuitive understanding in that baby. So the baby could be crying, and you could be like, oh, it's around that time the baby's probably hungry. Oh, it's around that time the baby's probably tired, needs to sleep, Oh, I think the baby needs to poop, or it needs to be cleaned, or oh, the baby needs to be fed, but I know this baby doesn't do well with with the left boob. You know, I gotta feed her in the right boob. You know, things like that. You understand that baby. So anytime that baby's like in pain or crying or whatever it is, you know exactly. You have a set of things already in your mind because you've been focused on that and trying to figure it out day after day. So you know how to calm that baby down for the most part very quickly. You know what it needs. But when it comes to us, ourselves, you know, that's exactly the same thing. So you have to have techniques and strategies to know when I'm feeling broke, when I'm feeling unloved, when I'm feeling fat, when I'm feeling whatever it is that you're trying to change, you know, whatever I'm feeling, when I'm feeling that way, what do I need to do in order to get myself to the state that I want to? First, you have to have the clear vision, right? If you're feeling fat, you want to feel fit, right? So you have to have a clear vision of what that looks like and feels like, and then you have to have a strategy that every time you start feeling fat, that you do that strategy. So like one strategy could be like, every time I start feeling that way, first of all, I'm aware when I start to feel fat, you know, or start having thoughts about how fat I am or whatever is going on, and you actually start to do something about it. You have a strategy. So maybe that's you sit down, you breathe, and you relax for 3 minutes, my 3-minute meditation, and then so that you reset yourself, you bring yourself to an alpha state, so that now you can focus and visualize yourself being fit. Or maybe you play a song that helps you to feel fit, or maybe you do a movement that makes you feel fit, or maybe you write thank you for my healthy fit body 20 times, you know, whatever works for you, you know, and you do this over and over and over. It's very simple. Once you have your strategy, once you have your clear vision of what you want, you have a strategy how to get yourself to feel like that. Now this is where you have to implement it every time you are not feeling like that over and over and over. So a good example of this is in the Silva Method, a book by Jose Silva. He teaches people how to do something similar to that. So he teaches them to when they have a problem. So like this one guy in particular, he went to a seminar and he used to suffer from migraines. So what he would do every time he had a migraine, when he had a migraine, he would do some kind of counting relaxation. I think it was counting backwards from 100, counting backwards from 100 until he's relaxed, brings himself back into an alpha state, you know. He still has the headache, but his body is more relaxed now, right? He's not resisting doing something, right? He's released resistance. And then after he's relaxed in that state, then he would visualize a bubble, like his headache going into a bubble and then coming out of his head and floating away. And so that was his clear vision, that he was without the headache, you know, he was clear and it would float away. And so after the seminar, he went home and he did this technique. He had a migraine. He used to have them every day for long periods of time. And he went home, he did that technique, went away, and then it went away. And he was so happy. He was like, oh my God, before there was nothing I could do to stop these migraines. I would just sit in a dark room for hours till it finally went away. Now I did this, you know, like backwards counting to relax, and I did the visualization and it went away. But then an hour later it came back. So this is the key. He did it again. He went count backwards, relaxed, did his visualization, it went away. And then he felt fine. And then an hour later it came back again. So he did it again and it went away. And now it went away for the rest of the day. Then 2 days later it came back again. He did the same strategy, technique, and it went away. Then it came back a week later. And he did the strategy, went away. Then it came back 3 months later, did the strategy, went away, and then it never came back again. So you see, the point of it is that, first of all, he understood that this is not a one-time thing. You know, I don't just visualize myself without this, you know, migraine, and then I'm free forever. He understands that this is something that he has to keep doing over and over and over until it has manifested fully. You know, so when he did it the first time, it worked. When it came back the second time, he was not discouraged and like, oh, this doesn't work, or maybe he did the first 3 times and it worked for that day finally, and then it came back a day later, 2 days later, and he was like, oh, this doesn't work, and got upset. No, he understood that this is something I have to do over and over and over until it fully manifests, and I think that's one of the main things that's missing from a lot of these manifestation books and stuff like that, is that you have to be consistent, that it's not a one thing, wham bam, thank you man, like it's not going to be a one-time thing. You're going to have to do it over and over and over, and to know that when you see the opposite of your manifestation, of your desired manifestation, to know that it's not that you failed, you're just not finished yet. It's not failure, you're just not finished. You have to keep going, and every time you feel broke, you stop and you reset yourself. You do the technique that works for you, whether it's affirmations, whether it's visualization, whether it's a mind movie, or just being grateful for stuff, or whatever technique that you've chosen, that you figured out, that works best for you, that gets you to the state of feeling wealthy and having more than enough, the easiest and the most like powerfully. When you figure that out, that's the strategy you use every time. And it always helps to get yourself relaxed first, because anytime you feel you want to change a state, you're going to resist it. You can't go from, depression to happiness. That's too dramatic a jump. So it's always good to have something, a technique in there to get you into alpha state, or get you into a relaxed state, and then you focus on being happy. So if you're depressed, you get yourself to release that resistance, or angry, you get yourself to relax and release the resistance and come center. And now you do your technique to bring you, so there's a technique to bring you to a place that you release resistance and you can change, and then there's a technique to help you to get to the desired state that you want to be. And you do that over and over and over, as many times as it takes, just like the guy with the migraine. Every time he did it, he was closer and closer to living that reality permanently, and if he had quit, he would have never got there. But the whole point is that know that you will be challenged. It's not going to be a one-time thing. I'm not going to visualize anything. And then also know that you don't just visualize or affirm, or whatever your technique is, one time for the day, and then you just go for the rest of the day, just thinking crazy and whatever you want to think. It doesn't work like that. You have to be conscious of what's going on within you, and change it over and over and over, just like the baby crying. You don't just, the baby cries in the morning and then you feed them or change their diapers or something like that, and then the baby cries for the rest of the day and you just leave it. Every time it cries, you need to do something to take care of it. Every time you go into the state that you don't want to, that whatever state you are whatever state you are in, you are creating from. So when you're in a state that you don't want to be creating from, you stop, and you're like, okay, this is priority. I need to figure out what it is, what my strategy is. How do I relax, release this resistance, then now how do I get myself back to the state that I want to be in? And you do that. If you have to do it 20 times a day, you do it. But know that every time you do it, it'll get easier and easier. You'll get better and better. And the change will come faster and faster. And before you know it, you won't have to do it anymore, because you're living it. So that's my message for today. I hope this helps you guys. And if you have any type of videos you would like to see, just write down below, or any questions you can write down below. I'm also doing for the first time, I'm gonna get back my 6-pack. I used to have a 6-pack. I had manifested a long time ago being in Men's Health magazine, because I was a chubby kid and I never knew how it was to be slim. So I wanted to do that, and this is before I understood law of attraction and all this. But I got there, and I created my dream, which was to be a Men's Health magazine and have a 6-pack and all that stuff. And I had it for many years. And then we had kids, and I started working on my business and stuff like that, and that kind of went to the side. And also I had some blocks in there that I didn't know about. So the weight that I am now is not the weight I want to be, but it's actually serving me. I'm not resisting it. So it's helping me to understand things about myself that I didn't know, and it's actually getting me excited to go on this journey to get back to the body, actually a better body than I was. So my affirmation is that I'm in the best shape of my life at 40, even better than I was at 30, or 20. So if you want to go on that journey with me, if you want me to share the things that I'm doing to help me to get to that six-pack by Christmas time, let me know at the bottom. All right, guys, have a good day.